Hello, everyone, and welcome today to Georgetown University's Professional Development Certificate Programs, what we call Knowledge at Noon. And today we're doing Knowledge at Noon, which is be smart about career goals, creating targeted career plans. And this today is with Dr. Lisa Andrews, who I'm joined with. Welcome. Thank you. And one of the big things is I want to announce is that our theme of this month has been career development because it is National Career Development Month. And today specifically is National Career Development Day. So what better way than, joining us here to help develop your career. So Dr. Andrews here, she is our Director of Integrated Career Development for us in the non-credit certificates here at Georgetown. So, and not only that, I mean, I don't want to go in too much detail, but she's also a career coach as well. So she knows what she's doing here. But with that said, I want to turn it over to you, Dr. Andrews. Thank you so much here. And thank you for doing this presentation for us today.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Looking forward to it. Let's do it. All right, and as Jonathan said, yes, please have your phones out. I'm going to be doing some Slido interactive slides. So you'll be scanning a QR code and entering a numeric code so that you'll be able to participate in any polls if you choose to do so. So that'll be kind of an interactive way to get involved with the presentation. All right, let's get started on being smart about your career goals. All right, one of my favorite baseball players of all time, not just because he's one of the greatest catchers of all time, despite the fact that he spent 99% of his career with the New York Yankees, is Yogi Berra. He was quite the philosopher as well. And two of his famous phrases were, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. And if you come to a fork in the road, take it. These are two kind of, lighthearted ways of stating that with a career goal and a career plan, you really want to be targeted. You have to be very sort of directed in what you're doing and what your career goal and your career plan is. The more nebulous it is, the more frustrated you're going to end up being as you begin your actual tactical career search and your job search. So the more directed you can be, the more targeted you can be, the more clear and concise you can be about your goal, really, the more successful you're going to be in achieving it. All right. Our first Slido poll, if you want to get your phone, scan that QR code, is, do you have a career goal in mind right now? So you'll scan the code, you'll enter that number up. All right, and I can see there are people responding right now. So go ahead and I'll just wait to get some responses. And there are 49 of us in the room, so I'm just gonna wait it out. $19 responses so far. Give it about 10 more seconds. All right, I see the majority of you actually do have a career goal in mind. Really, over half, 55% of you, now down to 53%, about a little over half of you do have a career goal in mind. That's great. Good to hear. Some of you, about 30%, no career goal in mind. That's okay too. Some of you are in just different places right now. And 13% of you, what's a career goal? And you're in the right place as well. Let's find out if it's a smart career goal. So let's move on. So we're talking about career goal clarification. There's really 4 steps. So again, you really want to have a target in mind. And then the second step is really to kind of break it up into smaller behaviors, because as I'll kind of wrap things up, I'll note that, with any goal, there are kind of small goals and then there are big multi-step goals. And, kind of the goal of getting a job is a multi-step goal. You can't, if you break that into like a behavior, if you think about a behavior is something that you can kind of go into the corner and do for 2 minutes. Okay. Kind of like eating a banana. All right. You can go into the corner and do that for 2 minutes, but you can't go into the corner and get a job in 2 minutes. If only it were that easy, but then I wouldn't have a job, right? So you have to really break down, get a job or whatever your career goal is into smaller behaviors. And when you do that, then it is going to be more manageable and more achievable. So when you're setting that goal, you then have to kind of break it down into smaller steps and smaller behaviors. And it's really important to write it down. Goals become real when they come out of your head and out of your mind and onto a piece of paper, and then put it somewhere where you can see it. Put it into a journal so that you can really kind of take notes on it and chart your progress. Tape it to your bathroom window, put it in a calendar on a bulletin board where you do your work, tape it to your laptop, just somewhere where you can see it so that you can remind yourself of where you are now and where you would like to be. And then, of course, create your action plan and execute it, because a goal is static. A goal is only as good as the plan that backs it up. So a goal just will kind of sit there until you actually do something about it. Okay, so here's a career goal statement. Something in project management. Okay, that's a goal statement. Is it smart? Let's find out. Well, spoiler alert, not really. It's not really smart, because does it really pass the SMART test? And you've heard about SMART goals before, but I've put a little twist on this with the M. Specific, manageable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And I want to break each one of these down for you briefly. So specific is a what phrase. You really need to name the position that you're going for, whether it's executive director, chief operating officer, customer service relations manager, whatever that actually is. So that person said something in project management. Well, that doesn't tell me anything about what kind of position they're actually looking for. One caveat is many companies call things different things, right? And so that is kind of difficult to narrow things down. This is where research comes in, looking at different companies, industry publications, professional associations to find out what the industry standards are. But you definitely want to be specific about what it is that you're looking for. Manageable. Some considerations here include the work schedule. What's manageable in terms of your own life? How would you like your life to look? Work-life balance, similarly. Is this position or goal that you're going for manageable in terms of work-life balance? Are you really, if you want to be a consultant, let's say, are you ready, like my nephew did, to get on a plane Monday morning and come back home Friday night every single week for 52 weeks? That's what he did his first year at Boston Consulting Group. So everybody thinks, ooh, I want to work for these famous consulting companies, okay, and make so much money. But are you ready to do that? Maybe, maybe not. Is that manageable? Your commute, are you ready to get in the car and spend 90 minutes going and coming? Salary, what's manageable? What do you need to survive? What are you willing to accept? Is it manageable? And succession plan. And these are just some considerations. There are many, many others. So what's the succession plan? Is it manageable? Are you going to accept this position and then stagnate for 10 years? Or is there a plan? Is there a way to move up? Or will you have to move on to move up? is it attainable? Some considerations here include your own experience. So is it possible for you to, with the experience you have, to even attain the position that you're going for? And again, it's important to be honest with yourself in looking at the position descriptions that you're going for as to whether this is possible. One way to do that is kind of like what I call kind of the 3-point test. So take a look at the job description, take a look at the top 3 qualifications. If you meet at least the top 3, I would say apply for it. Now, if you're at all interested in a position, you should go for it. But understand that to make it truly attainable, you really at least have to have those top 3. And remember, also, job descriptions are written for people that don't exist. You'll never have all the qualifications, but you should really at least have the top 3. And they are generally written with sort of the order of importance of qualifications. Also, education and certifications. You certainly can't be a pharmacist unless you have a PharmD. So is it actually attainable? Do you have the proper education and certifications? One thing SCS can certainly help you with is those certifications. Well, certificates, different than certifications. So you may have the project management certificate. You should also get the PMP to go along with it. And, we have definitely some help to get you that exam prep and then take that exam and go forward with the PMP, which is a huge feather in your cap if you do want that project management position, which that person wanted way back in the beginning, something in project management, remember? So something to consider. And last, and of course, is interest. This is a really important consideration. It's really important to be interested in what you're trying to attain. The last thing you want to do is get yourself trapped in a situation where you're unhappy. And trust me, your body will let you know when you're not happy in a situation, in a job situation. It will manifest itself physically in your stress levels and in other ways. You'll start to get stomach issues because that is where there are many sort of receptors in your GI tract that deal with stress. And so that is where, among other places, depending on you, it will manifest itself. So think about interest, happiness, stress levels, and so forth. And so is it attainable? Think about interest and how happy you're going to be when you attain that goal. Realistic. Some considerations here. Geography. Is it financially realistic for you to live in, let's just say, Fairfax County, Virginia, or Loudoun County, Virginia, or North Carolina, or Miami, Florida, or North Dakota? Is it realistic for you to move there? Is it realistic for you financially to live there, to buy a house there, to rent an apartment there, and so forth? Again, salary. Think about what is realistic for you to accept? How do you negotiate to get the proper salary so that the position will be realistic? Family considerations. Again, that work-life balance comes into this again. How much do you want to see your family? Again, those fancy consulting positions that everybody seems to want when they come to me. When I talk to them about my nephew, who is a young professional, he started right out of undergrad. So he had no family, except us, my husband and I, who helped to raise him. He had no family, so he could get on a plane on Monday, come back on Friday. He had no one to answer to. So it worked for him. But if you have a young family, I had a client one time who found out about his daughter being born when he was in an elevator in the middle of Chicago. Do you want that? So think about that as well. Position level versus your experience. So again, is it realistic to go for this X position when you only have entry level experience? Okay, so really be honest with yourself. When you're working with me, let's talk about your level of experience. And is it realistic to go for COO when you only have 2 years of experience? Let's talk about backing that up and working your way up. And then responsibilities. What job responsibilities are included in this position and what's realistic for you to go for. And then timely. And this is a when phrase. It's really important to set some parameters on your search. Are we talking 6 months? Are we talking a specific date? January 15th, 2024? Or are we just saying third quarter 2024? And build in realistic here, because a job search does take time. I've read a lot about how long the average job search takes. The average is about 16 weeks, give or take. So, that's about 4 months-ish, depending on the position, depending on the industry, depending. So you have to consider that a job search does take time. Consider it a part-time job. If you're working full-time already, add 10 to 15 hours a week to your already busy schedule to job search. So, be realistic with yourself as to how much time you can dedicate to your job search and add that to your job search goal. So here is a SMART goal statement. A business process analyst position in a mid-sized company requiring a certificate in project management, who contracts with government agencies in the Washington, D.C. area by July 1st, 2024. Now that is SMART. All right, here is my last Slido poll for today. So let's hear how your career goal compares with the SMART format presented here today. Is it an exact match? It's pretty close. I've got some work to do. When can I make an appointment with you, Dr. Lisa? Oh, little humor here today. Give this about 30 seconds. Looks like I'm going to be pretty busy after Thanksgiving, of course. Give it about 30 more seconds to hear from you. All right. Thanks for responding. Okay, so I'm seeing 3/4 of you want to meet with me. I'm going to be so busy. I hope you won't have to wait too long to get an appointment with me. Yes, I know. This does take work. And I get that this is not easy, to put together. But, with a little bit of brainstorming, and a little bit of talking things over, it is more than possible to do. And so hopefully this workshop will help inspire you to do some work on your own as well. But of course, that is why I'm here. So what are some next steps? Let's talk about that as well. Clarifying your goals is really about staking your claim to what you believe is possible for you. So when you're thinking about this, back up and ask yourself 2 questions. What questions do you have about the world that you want answered? And what problem or what problem do you want to solve? Okay. And what organizations or companies are solving those problems or tackling those issues? So again, way back in the beginning when I had that non-SMART goal up there that said something in project management, I often push back on a person like that and say to them, project management is a really, really big umbrella. Or similarly, people tell me all the time, because it's a very big, it's a kind of a sexy area, the environment, right? Well, I want to do something with the environment. I want to impact the environment. I'm concerned about climate change. And that's great. But that's a really big umbrella, no pun intended, right? talk to me. Let's unpack that a little bit more. What specific question do you want answered? Are we talking about, vertical farming here? Are we talking about, sustainable, farming? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about when we're talking about project management? Because that crosses a lot of fields. With data is everywhere. What are we talking about when we're talking about data? Data can be used in higher education. Data can be used in nonprofit management. Not a lot of people realize that, but these things are everywhere. They cross all fields. So what questions are burning in your heart that you want answered, or what problem do you want to solve? I recently met with a client that was interested in, the concept of recycling. I said, well, recycling what? There's a lot that can be recycled. So what are we talking about here? And she said, well, I live in Europe, and the concept of people buying new clothes all the time really bothers me. Here, we recycle clothing. We believe in thrifting and that kind of thing. And I really want to bring that here to the US. People just seem to get rid of so many clothes. They buy so many clothes all the time. What about recycling clothes and reusing things? I'm like, that's great. Did you know there are so many thrift stores in the area that do things for charity? And so we talked about that. So anyway, all that to say, when you're starting to generate ideas about who is already working on this stuff, think about what problems are out there that you want to solve. And then you can start building your career goal from there, because then you can really start targeting, even getting even more specific about what company you want to work for. So, mid-size, or I want to work for, X company, instead of even saying mid-size, recycling company in Washington, D.C. or something like that. You can name the actual company and then boom, target that actual company. Okay. So that's what it's really about. And then please, if you don't remember anything from this presentation, don't chase jobs, chase people. So once you've identified those organizations, find the people within this organization. And by the way, you're part of the Georgetown family. So you have entered a network that is really, really powerful. And if you already are an alum, you have access to the Georgetown alumni database. So you can Hoya Gateway had just escaped me, but it came back. Hoya Gateway, which is an alumni database you can sign up for. If you go to the main Georgetown website and search Hoya Gateway, you can sign up for that database and start finding people. Another way to do it, go to LinkedIn, type in a company, Georgetown University. After that, it will pop up all the people that have that company and Georgetown University on their profile, and start reaching out. Don't go to Indeed and type in company. You will get overwhelmed. And by the way, every job that's posted on there already has 200 applicants. So that's a black hole, but that's a whole nother presentation. Okay. So the reason this guy is on here is because how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. A career goal is a multi-step goal. So you have to break it down. And as many of you already said, you can break it down with me. So you can't go in the corner for 2 minutes and create a career goal, but you can break it down with me. So lifetime career services are available to you free of charge. Well, your tuition dollars, of course, pay my salary in some small way. Unlimited one-on-one coaching, the workshops you're doing right now, Handshake Access, which is an online jobs database, career events, which in the spring preview, I'm going to be doing some career panels that have a Georgetown values focus. So I'm excited about that. To access my schedule, you can go to calendly.com/LA851, and I will drop this in the chat while we are doing Q&A. So please go to calendly.com and schedule something with me, and then we will talk. And I'm looking forward to that big time. I love meeting students. All right, so a list of our professional certificates is here. If you haven't already taken one, they are amazing and fabulous. I've already taken social impact storytelling, which definitely changed my life. And I'm looking forward to hearing your questions. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'd love to see you come off camera, raise your hand. I don't know if we're stopping the recording to do our sharing, but that would be, if you want to do that, Jonathan,
Yeah.
we can. Okay.
So
And like I
so
said, I'll drop in the chat, I'll drop my Calendly link. And
yeah.
the sessions are unlimited. Yes.
So my preference, just so if you can keep it in the chat, just so I I don't have to go in and blur you after the fact to put it on YouTube. But thank you very much for this presentation.
Yeah, my pleasure.
If you, just so everyone knows, so if you come to Georgetown's, if you take a professional certificate, a non-credit certificate here at Georgetown, you have a whole wealth of services available. One-on-one career coaching, that's what this Calendly link is for. You get, like, who else does that? I don't know for non-credit, but we do. One-on-one career coaching for life. You also get the pre-recorded workshops. You get the live career events featuring guest speakers from industry professionals, and just the other normal stuff, the resume workshops, all the stuff you think. But you get a lot more hands-on. But let's get back to what you're here for. Let's get into some questions. I will invite you, if you haven't already, please drop them in the chat box here. So let's get to the first one. Joelle A wants to know, what if you have multiple career goals, but they intersect within the same field/interest?
Yeah. By the way, I just want to let you know that I already have an appointment scheduled. So some of you are quite intrepid, I must say. That is great. I just saw one pop up on my calendar. Anyway, what if you have multiple career goals? That's a really complicated question, actually. I think it's okay to have well, I think you have multiple. So the goal itself is really kind of like position based. So you could be sort of targeting multiple positions within the same industry, if that makes sense. And that's okay. Because again, different companies call things different things, and you might be wanting to compete for several different positions within the same interest or industry. And so that's okay too. In addition, you may want to vary your venue. Like a lot of people want different venues. Like some want to do a little bit of nonprofit, some want to do private industry, some want to do education, higher ed, let's say. So there might be slight changes in venue, but the same position title. So that is possible as well. So I think that's possible. That's okay. Just know that for each goal you create, you have to create a strategy for that. So the strategy will vary a little bit by each goal. So.
Okay, great. We have some thank yous, so I think that
Yes,
maybe that.
thank you.
Here we go. It looks like you answered her question then. So our next one here is from Drew G. It says, thanks, Lisa. What's your best advice for combating such a turmoil job market? And as a follow-up, when do you anticipate the market will return to normal, quotations?
Well, I think, will a job market ever be normal is the question. And it's definitely industry dependent as well. So there are certain sectors of the job market that are more tumultuous than others. And I think overall in the life cycle of recruiting, we're in a downturn right now, and that is very much tied to the calendar. So from now until the first of the year, you can kind of relax a little bit in terms of your searching. It doesn't mean that no one is hiring. It just means that people are mentally checked out in terms of recruiting, I will say. And so that's why I'm holding my January job club, because it's sort of like new year, new career, new you. And that's when recruiters kind of wake up again and start recruiting again, because they've taken this mental break from now until the first of the year. And so I would just say to stay persistent, because hiring happens all the time, regardless of the sort of media hype about the job market. Okay. So I think a lot of it is truly hype, because again, hiring happens all the time. And so while there are fluctuations in the market, they are very industry specific. And I think you have to kind of dig down into individual companies, and whether or not they are hiring kind of on a case by case basis, rather than sort of looking at the entire kind of like forest, if that makes sense.
Made sense to me. So let's assume it made sense to everyone else then. So here's the next question. Thank you for that answer, first of all. Let's see here. We've got, okay, Ava has a question. Where is the fine line between networking and chasing people, and then asking if there are any job roles the person has available?
Well, I guess, excuse me, chasing might be, I wouldn't take that too literally. I guess when I say don't chase jobs, chase people, I do mean networking. And you don't ever want to sort of ask someone for a job. So when I say don't chase jobs, chase people, I do mean networking. And I do mean making a connection with someone that you don't ever want to ask someone for a job. What you do want to do is, when you're networking, and that's a whole other presentation, which I do have on the YouTube channel about networking, what you're doing is creating a relationship that is mutually beneficial. So it's you're providing something to them, they're providing something to you. Will it eventually lead to something? Hopefully and probably. What it will hopefully lead to is a connection with a decision maker. Okay. So hopefully this is when I just lost my train of thought. Oh, hopefully this is an entree to someone who is a decision maker. Okay, that's your real goal. So it might not be the actual decision maker, but it is someone who can introduce you to a decision maker. So that's really what I mean by chasing people. It is networking.
Okay, great. Our next question here is from, I believe is it Tala? If I didn't say that right, sorry about that. When should you consider pivoting if you were unsuccessful in getting interviews for the position you are targeting?
I would not pivot, because if you're not getting interviews for the position you're targeting, there might be something flawed in your job search. So that's my answer to the question. Don't give up, because a no is just a not yet, basically. It's possible that, again, if you're sort of using the spray and pray approach, that's the wrong approach. You want to use a targeted, networked, more direct approach, as opposed to the spray and pray approach. So, and knowing also that, I also say this other phrase, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. So from our fairy tales. So, and also, but it also could be, it also could be that you're not targeting the right position. So there is some truth to that in terms of pivoting. But so it's a complicated question that we should talk about offline, but don't give up yet is what I would say.
And to add, perhaps maybe if you haven't been seeing a career coach, maybe that's the time to.
Exactly. There's something going on there. I'm just not sure what it is.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
with that
tricky
case.
question for a career coach.
Yeah. Okay, great. Oh, here we just got another one in here.
Oh,
But this is from Kim.
mhm.
It says, I finished my master's in ODKM. I'm not sure what that acronym is.
I'm not sure either.
Okay, Kim, if you could
Yeah,
clarify
drop
that.
that in the chat, Kim. Just
Yeah.
clarify what that one is.
So she received her master's last December and wants to move into her second career as she's reached fulfillment or full retirement at her current employer. Although I have 20 plus years of management experience, it does not seem to translate into enough specific experience in the organizational consulting arena. So the acronym was Organizational Development and Knowledge Management.
Well, Kim, that is okay. I didn't see a question. It sounds to me like you want to know, you're looking to go into the consulting, but you're not, it doesn't, but you're not able to transition. This sounds like a career coaching question, and I don't want to do career coaching on this call. So let's talk offline. We can definitely talk through this.
Yep. And just to
Yep.
reiterate, that is the big part about these one-on-one sessions, is that we're not just going to give you some pamphlets. You're actually going to talk to Dr.
Exactly.
Andrews here,
To me.
and she's going to figure out your life. I'm just kidding. She hasn't figured out mine yet. So. But she's going to help you with your career. So anyways, here are these lifetime sessions unlimited. Yes, these are unlimited. If you are a Georgetown certificate completer, for one of our certificates, or in any of the associated programs we have, this is lifetime. And we mean that. You can, I don't recommend this, but I guess you could schedule an appointment every week if you wanted to. A follow-up for the lifetime sessions here. Somebody else added on to that. Does this apply for staff? Really, it's the only thing. Are you a PDC, professional development certificates completer? So it applies to anyone who fits that criteria.
Right, staff or not.
Yeah. So then let's see, we have one more from Adriana. Do we set multiple career goals over our lifetime? Should we have a big picture career goal in mind, or each goal is micro?
Oh, I love that question. Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Yes, you will have multiple career goals over a lifetime. I like to think of that you have a vision for your life, and then you have these sort of incremental goals that speak to that vision. Not everyone will have that, though. I'm trying to think my vision when I started in undergrad was to be a PT. I wanted to be a physical therapist. And then I hit physics, and I was like, I'm out of here. I'm switching to psychology. And then my life trajectory, went from there. So, and I switched and I became a career coach after doing a couple of internships. So it really, you never know where it's like an S curve, I think, so you never know where things are going to go on your career rainbow. As Super, who is a career theorist, since we're in career development month, that's my favorite guy. Super talks about a career rainbow. So like for me, I'm kind of here on my career rainbow. I'm 52 years old. So I'm kind of on the downswing, although I don't anticipate retiring, because as long as I can talk, I can work. I love what I do. So, Georgetown's going to have to like drag me out of here. I love where I am and what I do. So, yeah. So I kind of like where I am. So I don't, that's kind of like my vision is like where I am. But yeah, you should have kind of like this vision, and then like everything is sort of working toward that vision. Not to say that that can't change, because, life throws you curveballs. If we can go back to baseball, trust me, like I'm a cancer survivor. So like when that happened to me, I was like, whoa, what's this message? Cancer is a teacher. It was to me, so like, what is this teaching me in life? What do I need to retool? Am I where I need to be? Am I doing what I want to do? It affirmed that I was. So I kept on my path, I kept going. But many life circumstances happen, family things happen, you have a child, whatever. I mean, like you have to take care of a parent. I mean, like a lot of things happen in life, not just work. We're human beings, we're complex individuals. And I kind of like treat the whole person. So I talk about all that stuff when I talk to people, we're complex. So, because I have a counseling degree. So, like, a lot of things happen. So, the goals can change. They're fluid. So, yeah.
Okay,
Great
great.
question. Love that.
That's excellent. So we have, well, Adriana says thank you. I have one last question in here, so I will throw that out there. If you have a question, get them in now, because I'm probably going to start shutting this down. Nicole, I hope I said your name right. Do we have to complete a certificate to get the career coaching, or can a person receive it during the program? She's asking this because interested in a program that is 6 months to 2 years. And while I know the answer, I would love to hear from you directly.
No, wait. So, Jonathan, is this talking about our certificate?
Yes.
And you talk about that though?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, so
I did
career
not. I would
services are
just say
open to.
I didn't go through the ICF, the International Coaching Foundation, to get my training. So, if you can talk about the ICF side, that would be great.
Well, I mean, just as far as career services goes, if you are, registered for a certificate, you are now.
I thought. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood her question. Okay.
Yeah, once you register, you are a student,
and
you are open to career services here at Georgetown. So if your program is 6 months to 2 years, I mean, I kind of have a few guesses at what it might be just based on that time range. Yeah, you can come in and most likely your career goals might even change during that time period. So absolutely, you will meet with Dr. Andrews and whatnot. Was there anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah. So as soon as you register, you can use our services, the career coaching. Yeah. You don't have to complete a certificate. As soon as you become a student of a certificate, you're eligible for services. Yes. And the ICF is, we have a program that you can become a certified. Well, it provides you courses that then you can become a coach through the International Coaching Federation. That's what the ICF is. That is not my training, but there is that as well.
Yeah, just so I think you're referring to one of the programs in leadership coaching within the Institute for Transformational Leadership.
Correct.
Just to clarify, that is another non-credit section here at the School of Continuing Studies, where you will see the certificates here on our website as well. But those 5 specific ones, and the one is the certificate in coaching. So that one is kind of its own cluster, and it does work towards that certification as well. All right, let's see. Okay, here. All right, you guys you're really putting me on the spot today. Kedzera. Sorry. I'm an MPM student. It's the 36 credit program. So how can I get a certificate? Well, I'm not familiar with MPM unless you meant MPS.
Masters in project management. I'm not sure.
It might be. Yeah. Can policy management?
Policy management. Okay, that's in the different school at Georgetown. That's not us, right? Is that SCS? I should know. I
don't believe so.
Beyond us, I'm not sure, but yeah, no, that's not SCS. The certificates are just in SCS. Oh, McCourt. Okay, School of Public Policy. So SCS is just School of Continuing Studies. So we have 26 different non-credit certificates.
Yeah, just within our section, there's actually more non-credit with ITL, the Institute for Transformational Leadership.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this would be applicable to any of our specific certificates here.
What's the website? Can you drop that in our website? Can you drop that in the chat? Yeah,
that I will.
Jonathan can drop the website in the chat. So you can click on that, Kadzera, and look at all of our non-credit certificate offerings. There you go. So you
But
just
I will
click on
say,
that.
yeah, I mean, if you're interested in doing a certificate concurrently on our
Yeah.
side, it's not an issue. I would check with your master's program, of course.
Yep.
I mean, we have different formats as well, which goes into the next question as well. We have some not as many anymore, just because everything changed with COVID. But the in-person offerings, then the biggest formats are the fully online, which has no set meeting times. It's asynchronous, deadline driven. There's the live online option, which is you can attend class, but over Zoom at set scheduled times. And then there's the most recent format, which is the SDL Plus, or self-directed learning plus. It's mostly an online basis, like the online asynchronous, but it has one required hour of meeting time a week. So it's like a hybrid between those two. When will the schedule for spring 2024 be online? Example for managerial finance certificates. For that specific certificate, I believe in our meeting last week, it'll probably, I think, in the next month or so, as they're finalizing it. Some certificates are online already for spring 2024. January, we have a lot of programs coming up, like the global displacement and migration studies. We have data analytics, data science, social media management. We have the PMP project management prep course with PMP certified instructor Scott Patton, who is certified by the PMI Institute, and then will also teach you the educational component, or not teach you the education. That will help you prep for the test. I was confusing the project management certificate, which will teach you the educational requirement to sit for the test. So yeah, that's I mean, it's already there. We have a bunch coming up, and then I know the focus over the next month or so is to clear out or continue the schedule all the way up till summer. Let's see, if I may ask, a paralegal certificate isn't in SCS, right? That is correct. In the past, there was. We used to have a paralegal studies non-credit program. So it is not there anymore. What would it be if that's the case? Yeah, we do not currently offer a paralegal studies program. Okay, well, if there's any other questions, I'll give you like 5 seconds to get it in there, or tell me that you have a question. But otherwise, great. So I want to thank each and every one of you for attending today. Of course, this is Georgetown. We are the specifically supporting for the non-credit programs, but the focus of today's presentation was applicable for anybody and everyone. Don't feel like you have to somehow get tricked into a class or something, because that's not it. We're offering this knowledge here today. Dr. Lisa Andrews, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your expertise. If you have any questions or anything for her, please get in contact, because we're not going to, we're still going to talk to you even if you're not taking a certificate. But
yes, of course.
Yes, it's not like we're going to card you at the door or something like
No,
that.
definitely not. I'm very open to talking to anyone. I'm never going to turn anyone away. Ethically, I would never do that. Never do that. So,
all right. So I'm going to stop the recording here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Peace. Happy Thanksgiving.